Well, wakey, wakey, eggs and bacon. Welcome back to another episode of PM in the AM, a comedy podcast for all listeners of all ages. This is brought to you by Porter McNeely and Blake Bushman. I can't remember this, dude. If I don't have a script in front of me, last time you got mad at me for reading it off the script. I'm a script guy. I need a script because I don't even know what we talk about in here.
That's offensive, Blake. I have read the intro over 50 times at least. We're closing in on 100 episodes. We've got about I think this will be episode 84. And that means to me that 83 times so far, you have not listened to what I say in the intro and you're just doing your own thing. You're off thinking about something else, getting ready for the show. And you definitely could have done better on this intro. Not your best work, but we'll see where it goes in the future. We'll see if you can rebound in the next couple of episodes, but you've got some work to do.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I black out. I don't pay attention to the intro. I'm like, this doesn't involve me. I know what's going on. I don't need to hear this. So I don't pay attention. I'm thinking about what we got coming up in the show because it's usually high quality stuff. I got to really get my zen together for it. I have no idea what the intro says.
Well, I can appreciate that. At least, you're working ahead. You're thinking about the jokes you're going to crack and everything. So I appreciate that. I know the listeners appreciate that. And we are definitely glad to be back with another episode this week. And it is going to be a good one, Blake. Speaking of what we got coming up and thinking ahead, we've got the Ridiculous Roundup this week. The segment where we go over some crazy news stories that are kind of popping off in the trends. And we have some good ones, as well as mixing in a story that is from my life. So that'll be a good, funny story. You're going to want to make sure you hear about that. And then we also are going to be doing the Situational Awareness, where we give advice, and specifically Blake kind of breaks down these situations, and he just goes to work giving the best advice possible. So we'll have that one coming up in the second segment, but I think we should just dive right into the Ridiculous Roundup, and I don't think we can skip this story, Blake, as one of our personal heroes absolutely popped off yesterday on the 4th of July.
I mean, it's what, 16, 17 years in a row that this man has shown up and showed out for the good old USA. And it is the one and only Joey Chestnut, of course.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if there's a weather delay like there was yesterday. He will rally the troops. He'll say, we are not disappointing the American citizens by not having this hot dog eating contest. We're putting it on, rain or shine. I'm going to go out there and just absolutely throw down some dogs. And that's just what he did. And I love him.
The fact that he saved the event. They were going to cancel it. They said, we can't eat hot dogs in the rain, which I don't understand why not. He brought it back. He got the guys ready to go. They said, whatever show you got, cancel it because we're coming out and we are going to be squishing the hot dog buns down into a tiny ball while sliding the hot dogs down our throat, which I kind of forgot how disgusting it is to watch that event.
It's the worst.
The only way to do it is just to tune in at the end and watch or you could just keep your eyes on the number that they flip over one by one. You're like, okay, here, Joey's doing good. Not a world record this time, but still 62 hot dogs. That's not humanly right. That is, I saw the calorie breakdown on that, and it's like 480% daily value of everything. It's insane.
Yeah, he's come out and says that after the event for I don't know how long, but for the next while, he will basically sweat hot dog juice. It smells like hot dogs. People comment on it. If you get sweaty, it's really, really greasy and gross.
Oh.
So I can't imagine the things that man goes through. And I don't know what's worse, the sweaty hot dog grease coming through your pores or eating wet hot dog buns.
That's horrible. Have you ever heard of the Costco hot dog burps?
I have no. I mean, is it just you burp and you taste the hot dog again?
It's not just you who tastes the hot dog, and this is specifically from Costco, and this is real. This is 100% real. If you go to Costco and have their hot dog and you burp after, it's like a palpable taste in the air for everybody to smell and taste. And I never realized this was real until my wife brought this up to me. And I burped in the vehicle while we were driving and she could smell it. And I just, kind of burp whenever I want to. I'm maybe not as polite as I should be. And so I kind of had to get yelled at and reminded, don't burp right after you've had a Costco hot dog because everyone will taste it. So imagine Joey Chestnut's burps. They are probably horrible.
Don't worry. They do Nathan's. Nathan's goes down and it stays down. I do wonder if they all just go and vomit, or if you throw up, is it like void from the hot dog eating contest? You have to keep it down for a certain amount of time. I have no idea the rules, but I imagine anything that's coming out of that van after a hot dog eating contest is foul.
Kind of funny because it reminds me of a story. So in high school, we went on a trip with the baseball team or whatever, and there was like 4 of us that were hanging out together, and we decided to go to a little pizza place that was nearby. So we walk over there and we decide to do one of those food challenges together where it was like a 48-inch pizza. And so we start eating this pizza. At first it's good, at first, you're enjoying the pizza. But once you get about 36 inches into the pizza, everybody's had like a foot of pizza at this point, and it's just disgusting. We decided, we got to finish. There's got to be some way. We've all taken trips to the bathroom. We're all sick. Nobody can eat a bite more of pizza. And so we started balling that thing up in a napkin and throwing it away. I have no idea how Joey does it because we had to cheat to accomplish the feat of eating a 48-inch pizza, and that man could probably eat that thing on his own in one sitting.
Yeah, I was going to say a pizza challenge kind of just sounds like a bad habit to me. I think if it is a burger or a pizza challenge, I think I would do it on accident. I'd be like, oh, I just got what looked good on the menu. I didn't even realize that. I have a problem. Hot dogs, though. How many hot dogs? I was actually asking my wife this yesterday. How many hot dogs do you think you could eat just direct?
2?
There's no way you could eat more than 2.
Maybe 4.
Like Nathan's. These aren't the big Costco dog. These are just the regular Nathan's hot dog.
Probably like 4 or 5, but I would feel uncomfortable afterwards.
I could, minimum, I could throw down a whole pack.
With a bun?
Oh, yeah, with a bun. I'm not fully loading this thing. Like, this isn't a chili cheese dog. I mean, if it's a chili cheese dog, I'm only getting 1 down. All right, maybe 2 on a good day. But if it's just plain hot dogs thrown in a bun, I can put away a whole pack.
That's disgusting. I kind of want to see you try this. We're going to have to grill up some hot dogs, get you some buns, and you can be dipping it in the water just like the professionals. Maybe you're born to be on the circuit.
If I'm dipping it in water, I'm getting not even 1 down. I can't do it. Soggy bread, man, I'll hurl before I get a hot dog done. But
yeah, that is
just eating them, casually. Throw on a nice movie or something. I could put away some dogs. That's for sure.
Respect. Congratulations to Joey Chestnut. We are a big Joey Chestnut podcast, #1 fans, and we look forward to seeing you again, your next public appearance on the 4th of July. And the next thing we got today is the Enhanced Olympics, Blake, and why don't you go ahead and break down this story for us?
Yeah. If you haven't heard about these enhanced games, it is one of the most interesting things that I've seen pop up on the internet. And it's come out a lot recently. And what it is, somebody decided that we need to let humans do everything that they can to become peak human performance. And so that means that if you know anything about the Olympics or just sports in general, you can't take performance-enhancing drugs. If you take it, you're kicked off the team, you're banned, whatever. But not in the enhanced games. They encourage enhanced athletes to go and compete. And if you watch their advertisement, like they have a commercial out, and it's pretty hilarious, actually, because you see it, and it's, I'm the fastest man alive, but nobody knows my name. I could beat Usain Bolt's records, and you would never hear about it. It's because all these things, I'm the strongest man in the world. And it just keeps going. And it's just all about this. Because they take performance-enhancing drugs, they are the world's best athletes. And I genuinely really want to see this. I want to know how much these things can do. Because if it really is a matter of, they're popping these pills, injection, whatever they're doing, and then they are just running their, breaking every single record known to man, I want to see it. I'm tuning into these enhanced games. I don't know about you, but I'm interested.
That sounds awesome to me. I don't see a problem with it. We got the regular Olympics. You got the ones where you can feel good about it at the end of the day. Why not do the ones where before the meet, who knows what these guys are injecting into themselves? We'll have to have lots of needles at the venues because, who even knows, man? Of course that guy's going to be fast. He's probably built like a racehorse after taking the same steroids that they take.
Yeah, it is interesting, too, because as part of their thing, so they have what they call natural athletes and enhanced athletes. And they encourage natural athletes to show up and try to compete, and they'll get like this special thing next to their name, saying that they're natural, like competing naturally against these enhanced athletes. And they're like, this would make great television if we can have people show up who think they can beat out these people who are all juiced up on steroids and whatever else. So,
You know what this sounds like to me? Did you ever watch American Gladiators when you were a little kid?
oh yeah, of course.
That's exactly what this sounds like to me. There was 5 people that were completely roided out of their brains, and then there was, the contestants came from a local small town, and they competed against them with like jousting and all these different crazy things. That was pretty exciting. And so you're telling me we could have a whole Olympics? I'm in. Who cares about, if people want to enhance, we might as well let them compete, but we got to throw some cash on the line. We got to make this a game show. I don't want to watch it as like a regular athletic competition. I want this to look like American Gladiators. I want to see these roid monkeys like going all out, and I think it'll be fun.
Instead of having teams from each country, it'll just be the roided out team and the national team, and they're just going. This is peak television. We need to get them. This is supposed to happen. These enhanced games. It's supposed to be real. Slated for 2024 next year. So if it does happen, I want in. I'm
Participating?
I'm buying it. Juice me up, brother.
What event are you thinking?
Probably enhanced water polo.
You just come out of the water and you just look like a Greek god.
If I inflate my muscles enough, I can kind of just float on the water. Like
Just get a life jacket.
like SpongeBob in the in that episode
Oh, yeah.
where he's got the inflatable arms. That's what I want, and then that way I could just float around in the water and toss and put me in the goal. And I'll just sit there and hang around.
Yeah, that's what you really got to do, is just become an absolute block and play goalie for the enhanced water polo team. I'm trying to think of, I think they kind of have to maybe change and make some new events. I want to see like the strongman games where they're like pulling a semi-truck with their forehead. This is the kind of event I would pay to watch. I don't really want to watch, roid figure skating, because I don't watch regular figure skating. Who cares about roid curling? That's going to be terrible.
Oh,
We got to do roid hockey. That sounds a little more interesting. There's going to be a little more violence to it, and we're going to have some big dudes flying around out there.
roid hockey is just boxing on ice. I don't think any hockey would be being played. Those dudes are all just so beefed out of their minds. Then just the roid rage comes over them, and I don't think any hockey would be getting played. But I would be in for a 10-person brawl on ice. That sounds interesting, so count me in. I want to see shot put, but with like a cannonball or something.
I think that's what they use in shot put.
But make it more extreme. I don't know how heavy shot puts are. Make it bigger, make it heavier. Let's see if they can get it to the same distances. The javelin, make it a full-on, I don't even know how heavy it is.
Like the 45-pound bar, the barbell.
I want javelin with a barbell. Let's just make everything harder. Hurdles, I want it to be a 10-foot fence. Like, let's just make it, let's see what humans are really capable of.
Yeah, exactly. These events need to be extreme. These events can't be normal, or why are we going to watch the same events that we already watch and actually care if the people are faster, knowing that they're cheating, basically. So I agree with you. I think the enhanced games, they might need to tweak the idea a little bit, because nobody wants to watch enhanced diving. Nobody wants, some of these events are going to look the exact same, just a tiny bit better. So they got to tweak it a little bit, make it a little more like American Gladiators, I would say. And I think they're onto something. For the ridiculous roundup this week, I got to go to a personal experience that I had this last week, and I think you're going to enjoy this. So if it was a headline, it would say, "A Croc saved my life."
Wow, okay.
So this is kind of a crazy story and kind of funny. But anyway, so we were at my wife's family's cabin this past weekend, enjoying some time and hanging out. It's right by a lake, which is a little foreshadowing to what's going to come. But we were helping out, with a little bit of yard work, because there's a lot of grass there. And so there's a couple of riding lawnmowers. So I hopped on, having a lovely morning lawn mow, just enjoying the fresh air, smell of the beautifully cut grass that I was cutting, making some absolute tight turns right around trees, not leaving any long grass, just living the dream. And I decided I was going to try and mow, kind of a steeper hill, which kind of runs up to the edge of the lake. There's not very much room to turn around at the bottom, just to give you a little bit of a visual. And so I was going up and down the hill, and at some point I kind of realized that the lawnmower didn't have any brakes. So I was using the reverse feature to brace myself as I was going down the hill to slow down, so I didn't just go straight off the edge and directly into the lake. Until I made my way down the hill, nothing, no problems. And I turned around to go up the hill. So I gave it a little gas because I figured it's getting a little steeper. I'm going to need some gas to get all the way to the top. And as I was revving it up, trying to get to the top, I got just about to the crest of the hill when the mower completely shut off. And I started rolling backwards down the hill with no brakes and a lake right behind me. You know, I'm on a giant lawnmower. And at that moment, I realized I was maybe ending up in the bottom of the lake. So what did I do? I wedged my foot in between the wheel and the wheel well.
I think the blade wasn't going anywhere, right?
Well, the blade's in the front underneath, so I didn't get my foot. My foot's nowhere near the blade. You know, I wasn't trying to lose a foot. But so the wheels are like up high, right? So it's just the wheel. So I wedged my foot in between the wheel and the wheel well, and somehow stopped the thing, you know, about a foot before going off backwards into the water. And nothing happened to my foot. My Croc was slightly damaged. There's some scuffs on the Croc, but it saved me and the lawnmower that day, and it was a beautiful experience. So I think Crocs needs to turn this into a movie.
Yeah, I get sponsored by Crocs now. I have to tell you, going back, you listen to the old episodes, back before you were married and you're still dating, we talked about how you would go on dates in Crocs. You're a Croc man, and if there's one thing I know about you, is that if any shoe is going to save your life, it's definitely going to be a Croc. And I have to let you know that you have influenced me. And I've officially joined the Croc family. I got my own pair now. And I have to tell you, I'm in. I wear these. I've not worn a single other shoe since I've owned these Crocs. I don't know why I would. They're so comfortable. So I mean, I'm in. We need to figure out a Croc sponsorship as soon as possible. Put in code PM in the AM. And
definitely dream sponsorship. If there was one company to sponsor us, it would have to be Crocs, because we love the product, we rep the product. I'm glad to see that you've come around, and I just am glad that you can have the peace of mind now too, knowing that if you're in danger and you need footwear to save your life, you're wearing the right thing.
You know, if there is a shoe that I'm gonna shove in underneath a lawnmower and hope that it'll save my foot, barring like a steel-toed boot, but who's wearing those? That's nonsense. A Croc's got to be the choice. You know, if I'm going to get a rubber blade going at my foot, a steel blade going at my foot, a rubber shoe is probably the best option. A rubber blade probably wouldn't do much.
I'm definitely grateful for Crocs this week, as I didn't go backwards flying down a hill on a lawnmower into a lake, and it all turned out for the best. Luckily, wouldn't be here to do the podcast had I not, because my foot then got stuck and I actually needed help removing it from the wheel well. I was just stuck on the lawnmower with my foot stuck in between the wheel. It just pinched on the top between the wheel and the wheel well. I didn't even get a scratch on my foot, so it was kind of a lucky situation, but shout out to Crocs for that. We've got some situational awareness coming up, the segment where Blake is going to be breaking down some questions sent in by listeners and giving his best advice. So we're really excited for that. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. And we are back. We've got another situational awareness segment, the segment where we break down insane, hilarious situations sent in by the listeners, and we give you guys great advice. If you have a question you want to be featured, as always, send it in at PM in the AM Podcast on Instagram. Click the link in our bio, and it is a Google Forms link that you'll find there. So make sure you're sending in questions, and shout out to the people who have sent them in this week. Let's get into these, Blake, and let's break it down. The first one says, I have a job interview coming up. I need some advice on how to make a good impression and stand out. It seems like there will be a lot of candidates for this job, and I really want it. What kind of help can you offer, Blake?
I feel like there's a lot of different things you can do to stand out in a job interview. But there's one thing that I know for sure is that you want to, show that you can fit in with the culture there. And this is something we've talked about. And it's such a good thing that it can get you out of being late to meetings. You already have the job. So keep this in your back pocket for when you get hired, because you took my advice here. And that is to show up to your job interview with a box of donuts. Because if you show up with some donuts, they're going to be like, this guy gets it. This guy understands what we're about here. I know that if they would work at my place of work there, it'd be like, they obviously would be one with the culture. We used to have Donut Friday. I'm pretty sure that's popular with a lot of different places. If it's not, you can be the guy that starts Donut Friday. And then that can be one of your major selling points, is that you will better the company culture by starting there.
That's a really good advice. Like, I think it would almost go better, if you don't show them until like during the interview. Somehow you keep these donuts concealed in a bag or something, and they're like, what do you bring to the table? What kind of cultural fit do you see yourself at? Boom. Then you whip out the donuts. And you also have like classy napkins on the side too, because you don't want to just have them reaching in there and get glazed fingers or chocolate fingers. You need them to have a nice napkin. Boom. Then you pull out some drinks after. Boom. Would you like to refresh yourself with a nice sparkling soda or water? We might be onto something. If you pack a feast, they're going to have a hard time saying no.
Yeah. Now, I don't recommend showing up with like a rotisserie chicken. I don't think that would go over very well.
It's just rip a piece off.
It's like 8 a.m. Yeah. It's just tearing off a leg.
A big appetite for success. Just start biting into that drumstick. There you go.
I mean, one thing's for sure. They would remember you. Yeah, I don't think you'd be like, oh, yeah, that was Adam. He was super qualified. You'd be like, oh, yeah, that was the rotisserie chicken guy.
Yeah, nobody eats chicken at 8 a.m. Like, your name's getting instantly scratched off if you do it like that. You got to be sly about how you do it. You got to, because what you're doing is you're being a suck up. And if you're going to try and get away with that, you have to do it, very carefully to not come off as, oh, this guy's just a butt kisser, because a lot of people aren't going to be looking for that.
You walk in eating a donut. That's how they know you did it for you as much as you did it for them.
You walk in with glaze on your face.
You got a blueberry donut in your hand. You're chowing down. You're like, hi, I'm Blake. It's really nice to meet you. Hi. And then you offer them a donut. That is going to be the best job interview they ever had, because you're starting off the bank. The worst part of an interview is the beginning, kind of the icebreaker before you get into it. So if the icebreaker is you chowing down on a donut and offering them some, that's a memorable interview, and I think you're getting a call back.
I mean, hopefully this person is not trying to become a personal trainer or something in the health and wellness industry, because I don't think the donut idea is going to go over so well. So I've got another suggestion for that kind of a thing, Blake. And so what I think you should do is, instead of making like a normal resume, I want you to do, like on the back of a cereal box, how there was like a maze that you could, you started with the line, you drew through, you got to some dead ends, and then you get all the way through. I want you to build a custom maze that has, some character traits about you sprinkled in. Maybe you have a 2 truths and a lie at the bottom of the resume, but I want you to, kind of gamify this resume. Make it fun.
Puzzle.
Yeah. They've got a crossword puzzle they're going to throw out. You can't do it. You got to do something so simple that they're having fun with it. And then they get to your 2 truths and a lie, and it's like, I could type left-handed at 500 words per minute. And they're like, dang, we need this guy on our team.
Hold on. Before you move on, type left-handed. What do you mean by that?
You just type with one hand.
I don't know if you know this, Porter, but most people do type with both hands.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this has to be a skill.
I don't think the typing left-handed is the impressive part, though. I think the impressive part is the typing one-handed.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it's your dominant or non-dominant hand.
Yeah, imagine you have one hand on the keyboard, one hand on the mouse. Imagine how much more efficient you would be if you could type and be clicking at the same time.
I'm an ambidextrous typer. Look at me go.
See? That's what I'm saying. You got to have some, like, a little bit of humor tied into some funny skills. You're like, I know how to use clip art on PowerPoint.
No, you want to know what you really do in a job interview? And this is for your resume. You just flat out lie. That's really, because look, you think they're going to make sure that everything you're saying is true? You have a degree in this. You might not have finished school, but does anybody ever check that? I don't think so.
It's funny you bring that up, Blake, because I'm actually, still a little hurt about this one, because there was I graduated college in December. I've been applying for several jobs, and I was always told during college, everyone was like, just get the C's, man. Nobody's going to care about the GPA. Just get the C's and graduate. So what did I do? Put in the least amount of effort possible. And I finally get excited about, a job application interview process. And, I get through like the first round or whatever. And the HR people are like, hey, can you just send us like the copy of your degree? And what was your GPA, by the way? Which I in turn had. Yes, they did. And I had to look it up to find out that I got a 3.1 GPA. And from there, I did not get an interview. So
wait, college is one, and they're turning their nose up at it?
I guess 3.1's not good enough.
You don't want to work there anyways. Here, that's the thing. If they're asking you for your GPA at all, they're probably a bunch of schnubs. You don't want to work for them. So this is a lesson for you now, Porter. This is your advice. Find better places to work. That they don't want to know your GPA. It should matter. Cease to get degrees for a reason. If you weren't eligible, you wouldn't have passed the class. So you don't want somebody you're not trying to get into a college. You're trying to use your knowledge. Oh, that rhymed. That was amazing.
There we go. So I wasn't expecting the motivation, but that was beautifully said, Blake. I need to go find somewhere that, appreciates the fact that I was optimizing. I'd walk into the final and I would have already known the number that I needed to get. And instead of trying to get 100, I was trying to get that 57 just to get through the class. And I remember I sent the boys a big text after I took my last test, which I think I got a 48 on. And I was like, done with college. And Blake responds like, are you sure there, buddy? Are you sure that was good enough to pass the class?
I remember receiving that text. And it was literally like got a 48% on my last college final. I'm like, dude, if you got a 48, I don't think that was your last one. I think you might have to redo it. So
I went out swinging with a blindfold on.
So that means that you had good enough of grades to get you through, and so that should get you that job. All right. So if they want it, you don't want them. And to this person who sent in the question, if they ask you things, you don't want them. So just find out lie. Just say you got and if you want to include your GPA on there so they don't have to ask, you can lie about that too. Say a 3.9 from Stanford Business School or whatever it is here that you want. You think they're going to fact check you? They're going to ask, hey, how was Stanford? And you'd be like, oh man, it was the best.
No, they totally are. It's going to be one of those things too where it was like, is Professor Jenkins still teaching in that program? And you're like,
say no every time.
Say no. Because if you say that and then they're like, oh, I actually follow him on LinkedIn and I saw some lectures he was doing. It's a bad idea. Don't do that. I have seen so many things where people get caught up and it's just going to come back to bite you.
Here's the thing. I'm not convinced that anybody is qualified for the job they get.
That's fair.
I don't think you can be, because if you were qualified for that job, you wouldn't need to be applying for that job. And so the whole point is to go and learn and, figure stuff out along the way. So just lie, say you already know, and then you'll figure it out as you're doing it. That's what everybody else is going to have to do anyways. And I think they'll appreciate, maybe you don't lie, but maybe you just have that understanding and you let them know. I think they'll appreciate that. It'll be a fresh take from the usual, oh, well, I did this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so I'm still not going to condone lying even after you tried so eloquently to make it sound like it's a good thing, because you get caught up in your lie at a new job. I think that would be the most uncomfortable feeling ever. But let's move on. We gave some other good advice besides the lying part on that one, and I've got another one. Exactly. And I've got another one that we need to touch on this week. It seems like kind of an emergency situation. So it says, I'm going on vacation with my girlfriend's family. I'm really excited and I'm sure it'll be a great time. There is one slight issue though. The place we are staying only has one toilet and I have been known to leave some strong odors behind. How should I handle this situation?
Ooh, always go in right after somebody. And as you walk in, you go, oh, man. You let them know that it stunk before you went in. You walk in, you say, hey, guys, you got some Febreze? I'm going to need it in here because it is rank. And you spray it. You go to the bathroom. You spray it a little bit on your way out. And then anybody who goes in after you will think it was just the residuals from their Aunt Susan who was in before you.
That's a good idea, you just blame it on somebody. You pass the blame. You're like, wow, did you see so-and-so eating so many beans last night? Well, I sure had to smell the effects of that. And let me tell you, it was terrible. So all the rumors start flying about other people. Meanwhile, you're the one actually committing the crime. Good advice, Blake.
You got to sow the little seeds of doubt throughout the whole night. You're like, man, I think Jeff over there ripped one and it stinks really bad. Like you got to just plant little seeds throughout the whole night and then go into the bathroom right after them. If you do that, they will never know the difference.
Unless they actually do, double down on the stink and it was stinky before. So that's kind of risky, because if you walk into a stinky situation, it's going to be bad for yourself. So my advice is set an alarm at 2:30 a.m. when nobody's going to be using the bathroom. That way you've got plenty of time. But just, set your alarm in the middle of the night and go use the facilities. You've got as much time as you want, as much comfort as you want, and nobody's going to have to smell it.
The issue with that is that if anybody wakes up, they're going to hear you and they're going to smell you and they're going to think that you are going through it. This guy is ill. It smells like he died. It sounds like he's in a war zone in there. So you just got to hope that it's a quiet one. Because if it's a loud one that you're fighting through in there, then you might get into more trouble than anything else. The woods really might be your best option. Like, nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to smell. It's a less comfortable.
I mean, the question didn't specify woods. If it's the woods, you're all good. But if this is like a hotel or if this is a beach, you might be in more of a predicament. You might just have to go, if you're close to another, at the hotels, they usually have the bathrooms in the lobby, which, I've been known to go blow up one of those instead of blowing up my own before. And that's a good strategy as well.
Pro tip. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like no matter where you're at, though, I feel like you can find somewhere outside. If you are at the beach, you know what they say about the ocean. That's nature's bidet. So you can go out there and...
I'm not sure anyone's saying that, Blake. That's a salt bidet.
Oh, it's nature, it's not as fresh as one might hope, but you're going to have to shower when you get back, probably, because you're going to smell like seawater. Sometimes it's a shower after the bathroom anyways, so it's fine.
That's disgusting.
So no matter where you are, there's a outside solution for everything. If not, you're going to have to hold it and wait until somebody goes and follow them in.
All right, well, there's our take on those situations. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Blake, do you have any other excellent advice or anything for the listeners on the way out today?
No, I don't. Obviously, as you guys can tell, the quality might still not be there. I'm still moving in here. Porter's Wi-Fi is still trying to beat him up, so we might not have the same video and audio quality as usual, but we'll get back to it. Maybe you didn't notice, and you're hearing this now for the first time, and then at that point, you're welcome.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace out.